Welcome everyone to our Slow Living Summit virtual conference. Today we have Pete and Jerry's with us, and we're just going to give a few minutes for folks to start logging in. I can see our participant numbers are going up, which is great. I know that we have a great presentation for today. I'm excited to hear it. Just going to wait a few more minutes. We still got some folks joining us.
Yeah, it's going up quite quickly, actually.
Yeah, this is good. Some good numbers. We've gotten some nice engagement having it virtual.
Yeah.
So I'll just give it just a couple more seconds, just to anybody who's still getting in. All right. So my name is Lissa Harris. I'm the Executive Director of Strolling of the Heifers. And this is now our 10th panel for our Slow Living Summit first ever virtual conference. We want to thank our presenting sponsors, Breakthrough Beverage and Meadows Bee Farm. And our presenters today, Pete and Jerry's, I do just want to give them a really great shout out because they have been longtime supporters of Strolling of the Heifers and the Slow Living Summit. And this year, when COVID hit, you know, a lot of the food and farm businesses that we work with through our Wyndham Grows Business Accelerator program were hit really hard. And so we had to set up a rapid response consulting help for these businesses, whether it was to help them, set up an e-commerce site, have an online presence, or just to help them apply for unemployment. And Pete and Jerry's very willingly allowed us to move their sponsorship dollars over to our Wyndham Grows Rapid Response COVID efforts for our food and farm businesses. And we are so grateful to you guys for that because I'll just tell a quick story that we were working with a woman who makes cheese, and she had no idea that she could file for unemployment. And that was just a very quick, simple thing that we could help her do, but it made all the difference. And so, that's just a very simple thing that we were able to do, but it's because of support from Pete and Jerry's that we could do that. So thank you guys. I'm going to pass it over to Jen Brandt, who is our coordinator, and she is going to tell you the two wonderful ladies that we have speaking today.
Thank you so much, Lissa. Oh my God, I know your name. Day 10, we just started getting each other's names, of course. Really excited to have Pete and Jerry's here. They are a longtime supporter of the Stroll and the Summit as well. They've spoken many, many times, I believe. However, this is Akela and Christina's first time speaking on behalf of Pete and Jerry's. This year is a bit different. We began with the theme of climate change, and they have recently formed a green team at Pete and Jerry's. So it was good timing for us to have a climate change event. And then several things happened in the meantime. It changed our worlds dramatically, and Pete and Jerry's is actually busier than ever. So we are so excited and so happy to have Christina and Akela make some time for us today. They have pivoted so agilely, and they are doing such amazing things right now at Pete and Jerry's in so many different ways. And I'm so excited to just have them kick it off and let you know what they have been up to. So I will pass it over to Akela, who I believe is going to be starting.
Yeah, thanks Jen and Lissa for introducing us. We're excited to be here as well. We're going to talk a little bit about our environmental commitment as well as how we've kind of shifted gears throughout these crazy times. My name is Akela Glidden. I'm our marketing and events coordinator at Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs, and I began working with Pete and Jerry's 3 years ago. Actually, I just had my 3-year anniversary, and it's crazy to think that time has flown by that fast, and it's been great watching the company evolve in those 3 years. And I have my colleague Christina here with me as well. Christina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Christina Laurie. I'm the IT manager. I've been with Pete and Jerry's for 4.5 years. And in many ways, it's a long time at Pete and Jerry's. In 2012, we had about 35 employees, and today we have 225. So even though we're a third generation company, we're sort of like a startup. So 4.5 years is a long time, and it's been my most favorite place to work. So I'm really excited to be able to get involved in other areas outside of my IT realm, and that's including these types of projects. So I'm excited for today.
Thank you. Yeah, we're coming from two different departments, and that speaks volumes to how Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs runs. It's not just, the efforts of, it's not like a hierarchy of people telling you what you need to do for your job. We work as a team and as a family all the time. So as we'll discuss later on when we talk about the green team that we started up this year, it's really a collective of people from all different departments, of all different levels in the company that come together. And that's really important to us, to get ideas from all different levels and departments, because every voice matters, and you come up with some really great things by including more people. So I just wanted to start with the like a brief history of Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs and who we are. So in the 1700s, our current CEO's ancestors settled in Monroe, New Hampshire, which is on the Vermont border in northern New Hampshire. In 1997, right after, in the 80s, we had some struggles with keeping up with some larger egg producers, and our company decided to convert organic on their home farm in Monroe, New Hampshire. In 2003, we became the first certified humane egg company in the United States. In 2013, we became the first certified B Corporation egg company in the US. And now in 2020, we partner with over 125 small family farms. So we went from one farm that Jesse, our CEO's family, ran to 125 small farms in 13 different states, sold under 3 brands. And we own our own trucking company. So lots of in-house excitement. So I just wanted to play, we have a brand anthem is what we call it, and it really talks a lot about who we are. So I'll let it do the work.
My grandfather Les, he decided to be one of the early egg farmers in northern New Hampshire. He handed it off to my parents after making a good living as a small family farm. Probably when I was early high school, that it sunk in that things were not going well. That's really when the industry changed, which led to really an unprecedented scale and industrialization in egg production. My parents, honestly, they didn't see a future in our own farm. Our conversion to become an organic egg farm exclusively and free range, was philosophically something that we wanted to do, but it was also done sort of out of necessity. We were trying to save the family farm. Early on, we started partnering with other family farms for our supply, farms that were a lot like us, and recruiting and finding farms that wanted to sort of follow the model that we had set out. Upstate New York, Maine to Midwest, we have about 60 family farms that we partner with.
They make you feel like we as small family farms were important. Even before I built the barn, I knew it was a great company. Everything's turned out just the way I wanted to, and even better.
They're healthier overall, the hens, if they can get outside. Interesting choice, seeing them run around.
It's as close to having your hen running around the barnyard, but she's well taken care of and protected.
We have a huge role in being an opportunity for family farms to exist in egg farming and thrive, not just exist, but thrive.
I'd touch every egg that comes out of this farm, so.
That video gets me every time. I hope you guys enjoyed. I remember that when I first watched that video, it just brought tears to my eyes to be able to work for a company that actually stands for what they're talking about in the videos. So yeah, it makes me very proud. And you might have noticed that in the video, it said that we partner with 60 small family farms. That's just under our Pete and Jerry's brand. So across all 3 brands, we partner with 125 plus small family farms. I just wanted to bring that up. So I just wanted to break down the 3 brands real quick. It made more sense for us to divvy up the brands from a marketing perspective. That way we're not confusing the people who buy our eggs, our consumers, when we're marketing these to them. So Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs is our USDA certified organic, certified humane, free range brand. So all of the eggs are certified humane, free range, organic. So we're the #1 organic brand in the US, which is very exciting for such a small company, like Christina said, pretty much a startup, to now be the #1 organic brand in the US because of all of the small family farms that we work with. Then we have Nellie's free range eggs. So these eggs are certified humane, free range, but they're not organic. So the only difference is that the chickens, all of our chickens receive a supplemental feed. And so the difference between Nellie's and Pete and Jerry's is that the supplemental feed that the Nellie's hens receive is not certified organic. So the chickens are all still getting outside and spending their days pecking around on organic pastures, but the feed that's available to them in the barn is not organic. And Carol's Eggs, we have certified humane free range heirloom eggs that come from a variety of heirloom hens, as well as certified humane pasture raised eggs. The ones in the green carton are also certified organic, and the ones in the brown carton are non-organic. So similar to how Pete and Jerry's and Nellie's are differentiated by organic and non-organic, that's how Carol's is as well, but under that one brand. So we just wanted to, in order to speak about, all of the different areas that we're focusing on when we talk about becoming more sustainable as a company, because we have expanded a lot in, the last few years. And so we understand that now it's our job, now that we have a system in place, we need to improve those systems to become more sustainable as a company. So we wanted to break down that it all starts with our small family farms. So we partner with those 125 plus small family farms across the Northeast into the Midwest. And upon the chickens laying the eggs, the farmers collect the eggs and put them into refrigeration. From there, our Rooster Cruiser trucks, so our in-house trucking company, will go and pick up eggs from all of the different farms in that area and bring them back to one of our packing facilities where the eggs are washed and weighed and packaged and put back on transportation to go to the stores, and then enjoyed in households. So we have a very dynamic business. It's not the most efficient, but this is the way we believe it should be done, is, you know, all of the chickens being raised in a humane environment, the farmers being well taken care of, and all of the employees, and even the people who buy our eggs, we want them to feel proud of the product that they are bringing into their house. So how do we make it more sustainable? Oh, is this you, Christina?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so these are just some of many ways that, you know, when we're thinking about how do we become a more sustainable company in terms of by producing less greenhouse gases, by utilizing and wasting less material, but also we want to really foster ethical, social, environmental, cultural, and economic growth in the company that further, it promotes, you know, it promotes us to be able to like provide more for our communities and provide more. So basically we want to create a closed loop system where we put in inputs and the output kind of circles back and circulates back into the system. So we want to be able to provide for our communities, provide for our farmers, provide more for our hens. And so there are a lot of different inputs and outputs we have to measure and figure out how we're going to be able to create a more closed loop system.
So with that idea of creating and being a part of a closed loop system, it really forced us to have a shift in our mindset. And so our old way of thinking was we produced eggs and we produce and dispose of waste. The new approach, not new to the world, but new to us in the last few years, we produce eggs and we also produce byproducts of that process. Let's find a market for all of those byproducts. So that's been a challenge in our geography of being in such rural areas. We don't have access to the same kinds of partnerships with waste removal systems and reuse systems. So we've gotten really creative and found some new markets for some of our materials. So that's exciting. So farming as a family, feeding more people with lesser impact on farms and planet. And so the true mission of partnering with our family farmers, we believe is the most sustainable model overall, both in supporting our just core belief of how important farming is to our country and this world. And we're always looking for new farmers, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end when we talk about some of the things that are going on in the world and what we are trying to do to be a part of solutions and take actions. But also keeping up with certifications to continue and improve our scores. So we're incredibly proud of our Certified Humane certification. We were the first poultry company to be certified humane, and all of those kinds of partnerships and certifications mean a heck of a lot to us going forward.
Yeah, and we kind of want to always be like the groundbreakers. We want to keep pushing the envelope to becoming even, you know, even more, to just like set ourselves apart more and be the first ones to take a step to hopefully encourage others to take that step as well. So that's another thing that goes behind why we're so proud of these certifications. We want to encourage more companies and people to, you know, be proud of taking action as well. I just have a short video on our farmers.
I grew up on a dairy and poultry farm. A farm is a fabulous place to raise a family. The best part is sharing the joys together, and there's a lot of them. Being able to take our son with us, so fun to be able to talk to him, sing to him. He gets to experience a lot of things at a very, very young age. I think the first time I took him to the garden, he was 4 days old. It's great being able to have all three of us there together, working together, and making our dreams come true.
Yeah, the real stars of all of our marketing materials are our hens, because they're the hardest working ladies in the world, we think. But also the farmers that we partner with, and we really enjoy getting to know them and bringing them into the flock, as we like to say, and getting to learn their backstory and being a part of their life. So company efforts, some more granular things. So recycling more and alternative uses. So we've really been able to find alternative uses for broken pallets, for, we're working right now on films and plastic supplies. So instead of those actually going for towards recycling, we can find reuse, which we think is even better. We've created, and Akela will talk about this, is more sustainable packaging, and she'll show you some awesome examples of that we're really proud of. And we also created a green team. So I've been a part of a green team at another B Corp that's local, and I really enjoyed that and thought it'd be a great addition to Pete and Jerry's, because it gets everybody involved, and there's so much that goes on at the production, the floor level, where we're using a new product or we're creating a new waste item that folks working in offices may not necessarily know about when you don't see it coming in the door. So bringing in folks who are actually working on the floor and consuming those materials throughout the production cycle has a different level of awareness. So what we do is we come together and we say, what can we do with this item? So, we're really looking at, over the next few months, our nitrile gloves, and finding a green glove, and a green glove that can be biodegraded in a backyard compost as opposed to an industrial compost, because we're in New Hampshire and we don't have access to commercial compost. So little things like that. So we all come together, and new ideas are brought to the group, and we do the investigation and track down pricing and what we can do with things. So it's fun. It's fun to learn about the materials for everyone, and it just sort of makes everyone feel more involved. So we also have been doing company Green Up Day for a long time, and this was our year to really go super crazy with it, and we had a DJ planned and food truck and fun stuff like that. And we've postponed it due to COVID, but as soon as we can come back to the office, we can be together in a semi-normal way, we're going to do the 2020 version of that. So that's exciting. And then the last few years, we started a company garden. So we have a space, and we're going to show you a picture of it. And our farm team, who take care of the chickens, they do the tilling and the planting and weeding, which is nice, because weeding is my least favorite part of the whole gardening process. And folks who want food, need food, can go there and visit that garden as often as they like. And so we're in a bit of a fancy food desert where we are here in Monroe. So having access to be able to plant whatever we want is pretty awesome. So people are really enjoying that, and we put up notices on our digital board saying the beans are ready, and so you'll see people down there, and we've got a pretty awesome selection of peppers. So for folks who are into that, it's really fun.
We'll have to organize a fun canning day at the end of the season.
Yes. So increased recycling. This is one of the most fun things that I've worked on at Pete and Jerry's. We wanted to dramatically increase the amount of items that we can recycle. And again, the geography's been a real challenge. Our former waste partner wasn't looking to be real revolutionary in that area. So we moved the business to Casella, and they've been an awesome partner, guiding us through how to, what kind of baler do you want to buy, and what's the best solution for this, and they help us find markets for our materials, our byproducts. So they've just been an incredible resource for us, both in learning where we, what we don't know, and helping us get these things to market. So we purchased Bertha and Belinda off of eBay, and we had one of our own trucks who was delivering. The truck was delivering product to a distributor for one of our grocery stores, and he backhauled these balers back to the company. And they are older than Akela, but slightly not quite as old as I am. And we gave them the top over and fresh set of paint, at least on one of them, and they're working great. So that's been a really fun process to learn all of that. So we are looking to increase our recycling to 54% of all of our byproducts that we produce. That's enabled us to reduce our trips to the landfill dramatically. So that's exciting. And that's really where I was able to get the buy-in to purchase the balers from the leadership team, and saying you're going to spend less on hauling of the waste because we're going to be baling it. Now, one of the things that you really need to have when it comes to reusing all of your byproducts and finding a new home for them is storage space, because there may not be a market for this type of film right now. So we want to store it until we can find the right place for it. So luckily we have lots of trailers that are not in use currently, and we can store those things on premise until we find the right place for it. So we're being a little bit of a hoarder, but for the right reasons.
So we had touched upon it a little bit earlier, but we've for years been exploring some more earth-friendly packaging, because all of our eggs, in order to go to the store, have to be put in some sort of packaging. So our current cartons are made of recycled plastic bottles. So these are not only they're not only purchased because they protect the eggs so well, but we like them because they help take those plastic bottles out of the waste stream and can be recycled again. They're made of #1 plastic, so they can be recycled again. And for any customers who run into issues recycling them, we've created a carton take back program where we will actually pay to have people ship their cartons to us directly. So we encourage them to collect a number of cartons, which can just be stacked into each other and stored aside and not take up too much space in your home. And then, yeah, we'll send a shipping label to send them back to us so we can recycle them for you. We're also exploring some new cartons with our Carol's brand that are made of 50% grass, which I actually have one here to show, and it's pretty neat. I don't know if I'll be able to get close enough to the camera for you to see, but you can see some of the grass particles in there. So they are at-home compostable, recyclable, made of 50% grass that's sourced from nature reserves, and it's never been treated with any pesticides. And it decreases the carbon footprint of these pulp cartons by 10% because there's less paper involved. So one of the reasons with our Pete and Jerry's and Nellie's brands why we use the recycled plastic cartons is because they actually, in several research articles that we've looked into, these cartons, the recycled plastic cartons, require less energy to produce than your traditional pulp cartons. So that was one of the other main reasons why we chose those. But by using 50% grass, it cuts those down by a lot. So we're excited to explore this, and all of our Carol's pasture items are now in these grass cartons. We also are exploring, this is super cool, reusable cartons. And so essentially, if you went to the store and bought our eggs, you would fill your own reusable carton, which I have one right here. It's made of hard plastic, that is BPA free, and it can be washed and reused again. So kind of like containers that you would fill with salad and bring them back to the store to reuse again. You would do the same thing with these, or milk jugs. And so you fill it. We have flats of eggs on the shelf in the cooler where you would normally purchase your eggs, and you fill your carton with eggs and bring it home. The first time you purchase, you're paying a premium for the carton as well as the eggs inside it. The next time when you come back, you're just paying for the eggs. So you pay, I believe it's 50 cents less for your carton of eggs every time you come back with the carton that you've already purchased. So over time, you'll even save money. So we want to continue to incentivize it, but there are a lot of things to consider. First, you have to make sure that it meets state guidelines. So some states haven't explored this yet, and frankly, I don't think any other egg companies have explored it yet. So we're kind of testing the waters, but we have to make sure that it meets health codes. So we were testing it in some local New Hampshire stores because New Hampshire state codes allow for, that people to be picking up their eggs and putting them in cartons and bringing back cartons that they've used at their homes. After, once COVID broke out, we had to pause those, understandably. So we're kind of waiting that out right now, but it's exciting to be testing it, working through any kinks close to home, and then continuing those conversations with other states and the stores within them to hopefully garner interest in the reusable cartons. So, and each carton comes with a little card that explains why we've switched to these cartons and asked for feedback. So we are very proud of the recycled plastic cartons that we're using, but we are continuing to explore different ways to pack our eggs and to look for more sustainable packaging options. So very exciting. Oh, and I did want to show a video. We recently created a video to help explain how our recycled plastic cartons are made.
At Pete and Jerry's, we put discarded plastic to good use. By packaging our eggs in recycled plastic, we help to reduce the surplus of plastic in our world while protecting the organic free-range eggs our small family farms produce. Pete and Jerry's, believe in what you buy.
Very short, but short and sweet and to the point. So as I had mentioned, we have a carton take back program, as well as a whole sustainability page on our Pete and Jerry's website. So if you're interested in some of the things that we're doing to combat, our carbon footprint, you can look here. But our carton take back program was a very important addition to both Pete and Jerry's and Nellie's for us, as consumers were having more difficulty recycling the cartons. So we wanted to find a way for them to still recycle them. So we decided let's go right back to the source. We know who takes our cartons and turns them into more cartons. So we'll take them back for them and make sure they get right there. So we also have things like on our Nellie's brand, there are some people who have been doing some interesting crafts with our cartons, or with all of our cartons, people have been starting their plants in them, like creating mini greenhouses. We talk about backyard farming. Even though we're an egg company and we would love for people to buy our eggs, we really, at the root of our company, is we want to foster more small farms and small family farming and supporting locally. So if you can go outside and get eggs from your backyard, we want to help you. So we've created a whole series on backyard farming, backyard chicken farming, as well as how to reuse your eggshells by either composting them or turning them into a calcium supplement. So lots of really cool things on there. I can actually potentially open up the page just to give you a glimpse into it, but I'll just share a different screen. Just to scroll through some of them. I don't know. I'll come back to it. I'm not sure if I'm on the right. Oh yeah, maybe. All right. We'll move along. Okay. So looking forward. Do you see my PowerPoint, Christina?
Nope, you gotta share that PowerPoint. We're still on your webpage.
Oh, you are? So I did get to my webpage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
So like I mentioned, we're focused on the carton take back program. We talk about our research and why we chose our carton, as well as, yeah, like I said, some gardening and fun things that talk about sustainability. Now I'll go back to my presentation. There, am I back to it now?
Yes, all good.
Perfect.
All right, so looking forward, you can see our employee garden there on the right. So that's something we love and we're looking forward to it growing. And then on the left, we have one of our favorite farmers, Tom Giovanoli, who is based in southern New Hampshire. And those are the solar panels he's put in on his farm. So he's trying to make his own part of the Pete and Jerry's family a little more sustainable as well. So I know that we have a number of other farmers who are doing the same thing. So that's exciting for us. Ultimately, our goal is to get our vendors, to put some pressure on our vendors to do more and make commitments, just like our customers are doing the same for us. So we'll have like a Whole Foods come to us and say, what are you doing? What can you commit to? And we like that, but we want to do more of it with our vendors as well. We have built a new truck maintenance shop on our campus in the last year and a half, and that is 100% heated and powered by waste oil that we collect either on site. We have people in the community bringing oil up, bringing their French fry oil if they had a big fish fry, things like that. And we have a filtration system. So that's been really cool. So that was our first new building where we put that solution in 100%. So that's cool. And then a lot of our sanitation process for our production facilities, we wash it down with power washers and cleansers every night to make sure it's the safest and cleanest it can be. One of the cool things when I first started working at Pete and Jerry's is I thought, this is the cleanest manufacturing environment I've ever seen. So we take a lot of pride in our sanitation, but unfortunately we have to use a lot of water to do that. So we are working on wastewater reclamation systems in those areas where we have to do a lot of sanitation practices. So that will be coming, I think, in the next year or so. It's a big deal, and one of the things we are most challenged for is space. So we like to joke in the office that the chickens have the hens have more space than we do. We're space challenged because we've grown so quickly. So putting in new systems like wastewater reclamation, requires us to expand our footprint a bit. So we want to do that in a strategic way where maybe we're tackling a few different initiatives at once: solar, wastewater reclamation, etc. So a lot more energy-based sustainable practices are coming. And I saw that somebody had asked a question about that, so I'm happy we got to that slide. Another cool thing about the trucking company that we own is for those customers that we're delivering our finished product to, on the trip back, we're picking up the eggs from our family farmers. So both going out to the destination and the return, we're maximizing our supply chain and the fossil fuels that we would be burning by doing a lot of backhauling. And so what we do for areas where we have customers where we don't have family farms is we will use an outside trucking company so that they can have their own contracts to backhaul. So that's another way that we're putting pressure on our vendors to be more efficient and put some more sustainable practices in their own supply chain. So that works out well for us. All right, I think that's good, Akela.
Awesome.
Akela, are you gonna intro on COVID?
Yeah, so COVID-19 shook us all. We immediately started, taking precautions that Christina will talk about, but everywhere from our sales team not going to meetings to people in our packing facilities packing eggs and getting them off to the stores so people can continue to purchase eggs. It took a toll on us all, and all of our departments have done a great job working together. So want to talk more?
Yep, so you can see that we have dividers up here, and so we used to be a little more free range, pun intended, on the production floor. We try and run very lean, so you can see each one of these is a lane where a carton of eggs would come out and go into a box, or a case as we call it. And we don't assign one person to each lane. We assign a couple lanes, and we all sort of bounce back and forth and make sure that every lane is covered. It's a little harder to do now that we have these barriers up, but we feel that it's important to protect not just our employees and their families' health, but to make sure we're producing the healthiest product that we can. So the addition of masks it's uncomfortable. So, our folks are working long shifts, and it is a moist environment because of the water and our on-site coolers that we have. It's also a pretty physically demanding job. So with sweating and having to wear masks, it's become quite uncomfortable. So I give our employees a lot of credit. They have hung in there, and we haven't had huge infection rates. We have had a little bit that we've been able to control, and our production has not suffered as a result. We're able to keep going. We do run 4 days a week, typically, with a Wednesday break. With COVID, a lot of weeks we've been running 5 days a week to keep up with the demand. The flux that we have committed to with our family farmers means that we have a pretty statically planned supply chain, and we think we know what demand will be. COVID hits, and everyone's going to the grocery store and buying up everything they can get their hands on. And I'm sure when all of you have gone to the grocery store, you can see no eggs. At least for a while, there were no eggs. So we're still producing, our plants are still going. It was just a simple issue of supply and demand. So our folks have just worked a lot, and we've tried to reward them as much as we can in both pay and awesome giveaways and products. And Akela will talk a little bit more about that. That's a good segue to all the big projects that Kayla's been working on.
Yeah, so when COVID hit, aside from taking all of those precautions that Christina mentioned at our facilities and in our offices, we wanted to know how we could help in our communities. And so one of the ways that we know we can help is by providing eggs, especially with the shelves being so bare. How can we kind of cut out the middlemen and provide eggs for our communities? So with schools being shut down, a lot of school districts have meal programs. So we began donating eggs to those meal programs weekly or bi-weekly, as well as food pantries and other local organizations. Some farms were putting together meals. So I know there's actually a farm in Brattleboro, Retreat Farm, that was putting together breakfast sandwiches on weekends. That way people could still go and get food, nutritious food on weekends. So props to everyone involved. We just provided the eggs, and everyone else has done an amazing job putting them to great use. So we're grateful that we were able to do that, and we continue to. Another thing, as Christina just mentioned, is we've been providing weekly care packages for our on-site employees because they're working harder than ever and taking the extra precautions to stay healthy and continue to provide eggs for the country. So one way that we've been doing that is by swapping eggs for other products with other local companies. So their employees deserve product just as much as ours. So we traded a dozen eggs for each of their employees for products for each of our employees. So WS Badger, Vermont Coffee Company, Stonyfield Organic, Grandy Oats, Leaf Farms, Allagash. So and there are so many more companies I didn't just mention, but lots of amazing companies in New England that have been partnering with us to make it possible for us to thank our employees. So huge props to so many people. And it's really been amazing to see the community come together to stay healthy and just keep each other moving and keep each other going. So we're really grateful for our communities and hope that these partnerships continue.
And just kind of a little data point on the amount of eggs that we're donating. We always have been big donators of eggs anyway. One, because it's a great way to find a crowd who's gonna want our medium size, which is not everyone's favorite. My best friend is always wanting the jumbos. So we have always donated a lot of eggs to the New Hampshire and Vermont food banks and lots of local places. But our donations increased by 35% since the mid-March. So I think in an 8-week period, we donated over 80,000 dozens of eggs. So we're really proud of that. And we kind of took the stance of we'd rather donate our eggs and give them away for free locally in our own communities than have some celebrity out in Los Angeles purchase them. So that's just kind of give you an idea of the volume of donations. And Kayla's delivered many of those out of her own vehicle.
I'm in great shape now. It's been really incredible. Yeah. Something that we're doing behind the screen and behind the scenes is our digital engagement team does an incredible job all the time, but especially with all that's been going on, they've done a great job altering their typical digital plan to help people at home. So people are cooking at home more. People are trying to find new ways to entertain their children and just to stay sane. And so they've done a great job preparing posts and blogs and other resources to help people get through the times. So You'll see easy make-at-home meals for when you're working at home, baking your feelings to just try to find new ways to relieve stress and just relax and be in the moment. Family-friendly staycation ideas, how to freeze eggs to increase the longevity of your food, and that could go down a whole nother rabbit hole of ideas. So yeah, I just wanted to give huge props to them, and taking things digital, especially recently. We knew that trends were starting to move digital, but now I think we're in a new time period where people, even when we can go back to a slightly normal environment, digital is going to be the way of the future. So I think it's amazing what you can do, and we can make the best of it as we are right now. And we wanted to open it up to questions or further discussion on anything we've touched upon. We certainly didn't cover everything we could have in this time frame, but there are lots of other important topics, including, COVID-19, and then recently, like the Black Lives Matter movement, and we want to emphasize all that we're dedicated to doing moving forward to, help combat inequalities and within our country, within our communities, and so we want to take some time to discuss that, and any questions people have on any of the topics that we've discussed today.
Yeah, to give you an idea of kind of what we're going through at the company in regard to BLM and some other social injustices that are really taking hold right now. And I think we're all more bothered than we were when COVID hit. So it's been a tough time. But I really view this as an opportunity for companies like us to take a stand and take it loudly, which we've done on social media. And we, like everyone, have received some mixed responses. Overall, very good. And our consumers are, of course, like-minded and are proud that we're taking a stand and agree with us. It certainly isn't something, when you run a business, like, it is a tough decision, but we've always been values driven, and we're not afraid to lose customers if they don't agree with the way we do things. That's okay. It's more important to us, to our customers, and to our employees to feel like we stand behind doing the right thing. So we've definitely made our stance known on social media, but we've also done it internally to our employees, and we've also formed some focus groups internally for us to say, are we living by our values? You tell us. If we're not, how do we fix it? And how can we be better? Are these values enough? Do these reflect where the world is at right now? Do we need to take a stronger stand? Do you feel as though these values are addressing the issues that are going on in the world? So I personally facilitated those groups the last 2 days, and they are some of the hardest discussions I've had in my career. And with the product that we are producing, it's some of the material that I'm the most proud of in my career. So it's no fun to go through several hours every day of uncomfortable conversations, but in the end, you feel closer. I know I feel closer with my employees, our employees, and it makes me feel so great about Pete and Jerry's that they're willing to put in the hard work and take action instead of making it simply a marketing post. We can all sit behind a keyboard, but we're really doing, we feel, the hard work internally. So I know that that's going to make us an even better company. And, we're not perfect, for sure. Like, no company's perfect, but I'm just really proud that we're willing to put in the hard work and have the difficult conversations.
The difficult conversations are what bring the best results. And yeah, the fact that, Pete and Jerry's includes includes so many of its employees in these important discussions is huge, as we spoke about with the green team too, but just in general, all of those important, difficult conversations involve a wide range of voices, which is great.
So, questions. Let's see. Is it okay, Lissa and Jennifer, if I just jump right in and answer? Okay. So, Kayla, help me out. So, how do we recruit egg farmers? So, we always want to hear from people who are looking to get into the biz. Maybe they are already a hen farmer and they want to move from one company to another. That happens. Sometimes it's like the Klein family that we saw the video of. They were like, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to raise our family. And they built, Kayla was just telling me, they built the farm and they knocked on our door and said, we want in. So we like that.
We got to watch them build their barns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things we are doing in response to BLM is we've always been trying to find more non-white farmers. So a lot of the we put a lot of research into this actually. The heritage of egg farmers is very much in the Mennonite community. That's predominantly who our family farmers are. And there are a lot of non-white farmers in the world, of course, but they are more typically broiler chicken farmers. So it's interesting to learn the cultural history behind the different kinds of products that are produced, frankly. But we've been looking for a non-white farmer or a non-straight farmer, whatever it is. We want to be more diverse in our family farmers. And so we are getting more aggressive now in looking to find somebody who may not feel as though we're the most welcoming just because all of our family farmers are white, but we're looking for somebody to take a chance on us. So that's one of the things that we're really amping up the throttle on.
And even going all the way, to our like government infrastructures, and how have they made it difficult for farmers of other races and cultures to be involved? Why is it more common to see a white farmer than a non-white farmer, and how can we combat that and help make it an equal opportunity for all moving forward? So we're really working on it and trying to dig deep right now, and so we're excited for what's to come. It's been a long time coming, so yeah.
So the question, what's the ratio of medium eggs to large eggs in a recipe? That's a really great question. I would love to know the answer to that. So I used to work at King Arthur Flour, and one time Martha Stewart came in and did a baking demo for us, which was fun. And she uses duck eggs, which are pretty huge. And so I asked her the question of how many duck eggs to a regular standard recipe. And what she recommended is 1 egg should be 1/4 cup. And so if you're using a larger or smaller egg, just crack it into a 1/4 cup or a bowl or whatever, whisk it up and then pour it into a 1 cup measurer. And that's how you know how many standard size eggs that you'll have. So that kind of works both ways, mediums and jumbos, etc. Kayla, you do more with the social media team. I don't know if that's a question that's come up that we have another response for.
Well, sometimes we do get questions like that, or asking, how much egg white versus, whole egg is equivalent. But I like your answer a lot better. I was going to say, in terms of medium versus large, that, eggs are packaged more so based on weight than they are on their actual physical size. And so a lot of more technical baking recipes will have those weights, and so you'd want to refer to those. But normally a medium versus a large, there isn't a huge difference. You could probably get away with using the medium egg if that's what you have on hand, or vice versa. But that's interesting, the quarter cup. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Have we developed a carbon budget / goal for combating climate change? We have not, and that is a goal for us in the next year. So when we sort of finished up with the putting in the new balers, and we said, okay, what's next? That is one of the items that's on our list. So we will be able to commit to something in the next 10 to 12 months.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned.
Yes.
We're in the very early stages, as you can see, of forming these company policies and infrastructures. So we're always here for any ideas or feedback as to what else we might be able to do, so we can consider those ideas as well.
And then I love the idea of having a contest for most creative use of our cartons. Kayla, will you make sure that gets to the seat?
I would love that. Yes.
Yeah. With like a year of free eggs as the prize.
Yeah. I like the way, yeah.
I actually have a question, if you guys don't mind. You talked about being a B Corp, certified B Corp, and some of our other panelists this week have also talked about being certified B Corps. Can you guys talk a little bit more in detail about what exactly that means?
Yeah. So B Corps have to go through a long process to become a certified B Corporation. So all of the companies that are certified B Corps have met minimum standards for being a company that's dedicated to people and planet, in addition to making a profit and being a profitable business. And so as a B Corporation, like a lot of the topics that we've talked about today in our presentation, and focusing more on sustainability and focusing more on our communities and the people within our companies, those are some of the things that make a B Corp different from any other business, because we, running our business to sell eggs, that's not our primary goal. That's honestly, we talk more about other things than we do about selling eggs these days. So it's really important to us, not just to have that seal, but what that seal stands for. Christine, I don't know if you have anything else to elaborate on, but
yeah, so for us, it's truly the triple bottom line of people, planet, profit. So, when we were a very small company, we didn't have things like health insurance. So I think 2014 was the first year that we offered health insurance to our employees, which is just crazy to think about, but we were just so small. And we started out very conservative, and then we added more folks to our human resources team, and definitely folks on that team who are more savvy, and they said, this is not about just insurance. This is about work-life balance and bringing all of those wonderful benefits that come with that kind of mentality to our employees. So the benefits we offer now is just so awesome compared to where the company was, and we're always trying to do more. And we survey employees about every year asking, do these benefits work for you? What can we do better? What else can we do? So that's where we really focus on the people, and these focus groups I was talking about in response to BLM and what's going on in the world, really engaging with our employee population, understanding them. We have 29% of our employee population that is non-white, and so trying to understand maybe what their experience is when they come to the table, so that we can be better at that. Offering more in regard to translation services on the job, so that they can understand their job and we can understand how we can help them more. So those kinds of reinvestment in the workplace is a big deal for Pete and Jerry's. And just bringing new aspects to it all the time, like developing the green team. So we're never you know, you go on a week vacation at Pete and Jerry's and you come back and it's like, whoa, new company. Things move really fast, and sometimes that's dizzying, but I like it because we are never at status quo on anything. It's always, once we're done, moving on to the next. So I feel like that's how we really embrace the triple bottom line the most, is we're always changing, trying to improve. There's a question in chat from Peter. Are you at the furthest point in your range, Midwest, and have you considered switching to electric trucks? So we're not at the furthest point in the Midwest. Our furthest point is Western Pennsylvania, and our furthest farm is either Oklahoma or Missouri. Hey, Kayla, if you know the answer to that, feel free.
Missouri. Yeah.
Missouri. And so we consider our Pennsylvania facility to be mid-Atlantic. And we have, in the last 2 years, gotten in our products into California. And we have said for a few years that we're going to build a plant in California or West Coast, so that we can limit the supply chain, transportation, everything involved in being closer to where your food's produced. So we're not there yet, but we will be, so stay tuned.
Yeah, there are a lot of other infrastructures to consider. So like, because we partner with so many small family farms, they, you know, the feed must, as one aspect, must, you know, meet all of the minimum requirements for being USDA certified organic, etc. But we don't necessarily source all of our feed from the same mills, because we don't want to truck from northern New Hampshire, you know, down south, or we want to keep our, you know, our road miles to a minimum. So yeah, lots of different infrastructures to consider. So hopefully we'll move forward in that department soon.
And feed is actually our biggest line item for the company. So with our support of all these farmers, we have different arrangements with them, and it's truly a partnership, because for some farmers we provide the feed, and for others they provide their own, and all of that affects egg price that we pay them. And so getting the best feed that we can that is close to these farms is definitely one of our supply chain challenges. And your question about have we considered switching to electric trucks? I don't know if we have. I think that's a great question, and I'll follow up on that.
Mm-hmm. And Cynthia, to your question about the reusable cartons, unfortunately, we're still in that testing phase. So you're not able, at one point while we were testing, you could get them at some co-ops near us in like Hanover, New Hampshire, Lebanon, New Hampshire. But that's on pause right now. And it really depends on the state as to whether they allow eggs to be on flats versus already packed into the cartons. So hopefully you'll start seeing these at some point in the next year in stores. But for right now, it's just our idea and our baby, so be it, our pet project of trying to get these a little bit more widely available. So stay tuned.
We have I think the concerns for the state are we need to have traceability. So we need, on your carton, you'll see like a date, the freshness date, as well as a plant where those were produced. And so when eggs are on an open flat and you don't have that kind of information, it's tough for us to trace where things came from. If, you know, God forbid we had some kind of issue with the eggs, we do want to be able to address that and figure out if there's a problem, let's fix it. So I think that's a part of what we're trying to conquer and get approval for. Could you possibly summarize the primary qualifications you use for deciding on whether to include a farm in your family? I am not a part of the farm team, so I don't have that kind of granular information, but I certainly could get it. and supply it to you. I don't know how we can get information back to individuals, if Lissa or Jen can help us out, but I'd love to answer that question so that they feel like they have the information they're looking for.
Yeah, I will answer that for you right now. So with all of our panels, we are happy to be the in-between for any of the participants. You know, we can send information out to anybody who requests it, whatever you're comfortable sharing on your end as Pete and Jerry's. And, you know, we can also do this going forward. We'll have this recorded. So going forward, if people see the recordings, you know, we're also happy to facilitate that communication as well. So this will be recorded and available. So these questions might keep pouring in, Christina.
Yeah.
We like that.
Once I actually have a logistical, once the recordings, you know, go up and people can rewatch them, do you mind just sending us the link once more to where we can find those? Because we might even be able to respond right on there. Then anyone who has that question can see the answer.
Yeah, this is a question I've been getting quite a bit this week, when they're going to be available. So as for when, we're hoping sometime next week. And when they are available, we'll send out to all the participants and all the panelists that they are live. So yeah, they'll be live on our website. And that's a good idea to have some kind of function on there to be able to answer that directly. I mean, like that, that's something we have. Yeah, so great.
Cool, thank you.
So I am not sure. So it looks like we might be out of questions for the day, unless anyone else wanted to chime in, or if Lissa or Peter had any additional questions. But I just want to say my part that thank you so much, because this was so informative and actually went longer than I think you'd anticipated, because there's just so much information in here. And I'm sure people will have questions afterwards as well. So this is really cool. And I'm glad that you're open to answering things after as well. So this is wonderful. And I'll pass it off to Lissa, who I believe just unmuted herself.
Yes, I did. I did actually have another question for you guys. You know, if any of our attendees might have businesses where they're looking to create a green team with their employees, do you have any tips on where they should start? Like, what was your process like in creating that green team?
Yeah, so I went to our leadership team and I said, we need to have this. And shared my experience at King Arthur Flour, and our COO, Eric, had come from Stonyfield Yogurt. He'd worked there a long time, so he was he's very progressive, and he's definitely of the mindset, and he's also very employee focused. So he said, yeah, we got to get folks on the floor into this. So we just kind of thought about people that we thought were great contributors and thought creatively, and also representing some key areas. So for us, bringing somebody in from the quality department was critical, because any kind of product that we have on the production floor, they're going to know the ins and outs of the sort of the technical requirements, what we're allowed to do. If we want to change our paper towels, that was one of our first things we tackled, what kinds of paper towels we could have in our facility. Same with the gloves. So they think really creatively, and so they helped us find different products to try and track data, because they're little data scientists and we like that. So it's a blend of folks who think creatively, and who are also super into sustainability. So we have somebody who works on our floor who's a part-time student, and their major is sustainability. So like that gives a great opportunity for him to do to get what he's learning in school and get invested at work, and gives him maybe a little work experience that he can have down the road once he graduates. And we get a little bit of passion on the panel from the floor, which is nice. And then also folks from key areas that you're going to need to sort of partner with you to get their enthusiasm. So those are really the things that I focused on, and it worked out well for us. A challenge certainly is, you know, we meet during business hours, and the majority of the folks are coming from the floor, and so getting them to be able to take a break from the production cycle is sometimes challenging. So we're we schedule it in the morning on a non-production day, so on Wednesdays when it's not COVID and we're running 5 days a week. And we pay them a little bit at $25 extra for coming in on that day when they could be home relaxing, frankly. And so it really works out for everybody. So that's how we started.
Great, thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Yeah, so unless we don't have any more questions, but I want to thank you both so much for coming here. Like Jen said, just packed with information, you know, from the amazing ways that, you know, the big ways that you're really making some changes, right down to some of the smaller ways, right throughout the company. And I'm sure, you know I buy a lot of Pete and Jerry's eggs. I've always felt good about it, but I feel even better about it now. And certainly going to share a lot of this information with my family and friends too. And, you know, I never knew that you could freeze eggs. Who knew that you could freeze eggs?
Right?
So it's really been a pleasure. I want to thank you both, Christina and Akela, for, you know, not only this panel, but for your help behind the scenes too, with us as an organization. And we're so grateful to partner with you.
Thank you, guys. Our work has begun, so we're very excited that we could, you know, preface it with this and be a part of such an awesome panel.
Yeah.
One quick last thing, everyone who's still on attending the call, and you too, we will have a virtual happy hour at 5 o'clock this evening. If you need the link again, happy to send it. We are inviting everyone, panelists and attendees, to continue conversations, and then, you know, BYOB. So hopefully we'll see you there, and if you have any questions, certainly feel free to shoot me an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.